oh my god, this guy is so bad. What the hell? I should be at this level. How am I stuck in platinum? And this guy's borderline grandmaster. He must be getting carried. This guy is terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa. And is that you? Do you leave comments like that on YouTube videos? Or do you watch people and think, oh, they're getting carried? Do you watch live streams on Twitch and you're like, oh no, this guy's so bad. He's just getting carried by his team. Well, if you are that guy, that is the reason why you are stuck at whatever tier you're stuck in, and you need to really change the way that you're thinking, because let's talk about Overwatch and what this game actually is. This is not CSGO. This isn't a game where everybody needs to be a DPS player. Overwatch is so much more complicated. You have to be able to play different roles. When you look at me, I am a flex support tank player in High Master, and hopefully I'll get into Grandmaster in the next few days. That's what I am, right? I play the tank characters, so I play Reinhardt, D.Va, Zarya. I play Reinhardt the most, okay, though, out of the tanks. For support, I play Ana and Lucio, and then I can play Zen if needed. That's what I do. At that level I'm at, that's what I play, because I am very comfortable playing that, because I know the nuances of those classes. I know things I should be doing, which other people might not necessarily know, and that's what helps me get through games. Now let's talk about getting through games, and let's talk about how there really is no difference between DPS, support, and tanks, because there will be a point in your game where you can do something which will greatly increase the chances of your team winning that team fight. So let me give you an example. Let's look at Reinhardt. So let's say you know the enemy Reinhardt has Earth Shatter, and the reason you know this is because maybe you're very close to Earth Shatter yourself, or maybe you've got Earth Shatter, so you would expect him to have Earth Shatter. So what's going to happen is he wants to Earth Shatter you, so you've got to try and bait it out of him. Maybe you drop your barrier, you bring it back up. As he drops down the hammer, you sort of block it, and there you go, you've beat him, you've got rid of his ultimate. That is an example of outplaying the enemy Reinhardt. Another example would be charging in just at the right time to hit the enemy Reinhardt, to remove his barrier, to allow your DPS to do damage to the team. You have enabled your DPS to kill the enemy. Through your play, you have won that fight, and that is what this game is all about. Doing your job and knowing what you're going to do. Now, another thing as well is you will never have the perfect game. The best players on the planet will not have the perfect game. So many things happen in an Overwatch match that you will get things wrong. If you're playing Lucio, you maybe will have speed on at the wrong time when maybe you needed healing. Maybe you boop when you don't need to boop. If you're playing Reinhardt, maybe you fire strike and it goes into a Zarya bubble. Or maybe you're playing some sort of DPS character and you hit the Zarya bubble and you charge it. You will always make mistakes. But what Overwatch is about is minimizing those mistakes and knowing what you're doing. This is the big critical thing. This is why when I read comments on YouTube videos and people are like, oh, this guy's so bad he's being carried. I just can't understand. I'm like, no, I know how to play some characters and play them really well, and obviously I know how to play them at the level I'm playing them at, because if I didn't, I'd be a lower level player. I actually have another account which I play DPS on, and that account is Master. That's 3.5k. What that means is that I'm okay at DPS, right? But I'm obviously better with support and tank players, because once I start getting to the higher levels and I start trying to get into Grandmaster, I know I'm not a Grandmaster DPS player, I just know this for a fact, but I can play tanks at that level, can definitely play Reinhardt, can definitely play Lucio, can definitely play Ana at that level, and I can play Zen if needed, Zarya, D.Va as well. That's just what I am, and you've got to play towards your strengths, and I just kind of feel sorry for people who think that oh, it's just a YouTuber who's being carried or anything like that, because that's really not the case, and it will never be the case in Overwatch, because what you've got to do is make sure you are doing the right things at the right time. Now, there were some interesting comments which I was very tempted to put on the screen and show them off, but I'll just give you the gist of them. So people saying like, oh my god, I'm a low platinum Lucio, for example, and I play better than this guy, etc, etc. The thing is though, do you? You might think you do, but what actually, what evidence of this do you have? Because if you think that playing Lucio is all about wall riding, is all about, booping people off cliffs and things like that, well, it's not. Lucio, at the level that I play Lucio at, is about staying alive, is about knowing when to use speed to engage and disengage, is about knowing when to heal, and is about protecting your other support, because Lucio is quite tanky, and if a Genji jumps on you in the backline, you can protect your Ana, because you can jump all over him with Lucio, you can be an annoyance. It's about knowing when to use your sound barrier. In the last clip I put on the channel, I used my sound barrier when we got hit by May's ultimate, because we got a pick, and I knew as soon as we got the pick, right, if I sound barrier, it will keep everybody alive in May's ult, so when the ult finishes, we can do damage to them because we've got a man up. That shows understanding at the level that I'm playing at. And maybe this person who was hating on me for, they're a better Lucio and whatever, That's probably why they're at their level. You see, the thing about Overwatch is it's not just about DPS players. It's not just about going in and killing the enemy. It's about knowing what to do at the right time. And I've said this a load of times in this video, but it really is. If I have a good DPS player with me, obviously that's going to help. DPS players doing damage, and that's awesome. But imagine if that DPS player is about to get killed, and I'm Ana, and I've got Ana boost available. And if I use that on them, I know it's going to keep them alive. Or maybe I throw the grenade onto them, and suddenly, they've got increased healing on them, and I fire a few healing darts into them and bring them back from the brink. That there is just as good as the DPS player killing the enemy. Like, this is what I don't understand, and I don't think I'll ever understand this with Overwatch. I think it just boils down to DPS is a flashy role. It's kind of like soccer in a way, with your forward players, your Lionel Messi's, your Cristiano Ronaldo's, possibly your Wayne Rooney's and people like that, your Neymar's. They're forwards and they're flashy, they score the goals. But they cannot do that on their own. They require a complete team behind them. They require a good defense, a good midfield. And without that, they're not going to be able to do what they're doing. If you look at Reinforce, and you look at, probably a better example would be Internet Hulk for Envious, the best team in the world right now, I think he's as old as me actually, but he's not that great on DPS. I've seen him stream and he's like, I don't know, maybe Diamond or whatever the hell level he was at with his Smurf. And, it's cool, it's fine, whatever. That's not what he is. He is a support flex player who plays tanks every now and again. He is the shot caller for that team. He makes the decisions. Because you've got these different kinds of players in Overwatch. You have the DPS player who you can probably argue is kind of tunnel vision, right? So they get tunneled down to just trying to put their crosshair onto the enemy and kill them. Bang, 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 bang. That's what a DPS player does, and that's what you want them to do. A support player or a tank player, on the other hand, they've got the whole picture of the fight going on, and they've got abilities that can change the way this fight is going to happen. They can either use their abilities like Lucio, maybe you use your sound barrier to engage. I probably wouldn't recommend that, but maybe you do, and that allows your team to get in, and then you can do damage. Or maybe you've got your Zenyatta who pops his ultimate as Genji's using his Dragon Blade, so Genji's Dragon Blade does nothing. Those are abilities that can only be used if those players are aware of what's going on around them. I'm going to go back to soccer as an example. I played a lot of this when I was younger, and you can see this right now at the pro level. So if you look at the English Premier League, you will see players that are in their mid to late 30s in midfield, and what they do is they get the ball and they pass it to the forward players who then go and score, who will be younger players because they're faster. What these older players have got, and the reason why they're in these positions, is they have experience, they have knowledge, they see the picture, they can predict what is going to happen before it happens, and Overwatch is no different. What I want you guys to realise is you can't go into a game of Overwatch and be carried. You have to do your job, because there will be a point in that game where if you are not good enough to play at that level, you will not do the right thing and your team will lose, or actually will have a much higher chance of losing that team fight. The Lucio example, it makes sense. So let's say you're playing Lucio, they come in to attack you, you get put into a Graviton Surge, and your whole team's in this, and you've got Sound Barrier available, but you don't use it. And then you get a Tracer Pulse Bomb put on you and you're dead. Everybody's dead. It's like, okay, right, okay, you should have used your Sound Barrier then. That would have kept your team on the point, and your other DPS players, your tanks and whatever, could have carried on doing what they're doing. But through you not doing your job, have allowed those players to die, which has then given the other team control of the point, which is not what you want to do. And there are tons of examples of this. Ana, you watch Ana players that focus too much on trying to do damage to the enemy. Ana needs to heal her team. If she's not doing that, then, well, that's not great. Your team are going to die. You're not going to be as effective. And there will be a point where you can play these characters up to, which is the pinnacle of not of your ability, but of your understanding. At that point, you will get stuck. And I honestly believe that's why a lot of people are stuck. I get people saying to me, Sty, how do I get from Platinum to Diamond? Do you know what? Do you know what the honest God's truth is how to get from Platinum to Diamond? It's not about becoming a better player. It's not about going and doing training or anything like that. It's about just playing together as a team. It's about saying to your team, if you are Zarya, guys, I've got Graviton. And you look at your team and you see Tracer on your team and you're like, Tracer, let me know when your ult's available and we can combo. Maybe you've got a Diva. Diva, let me know when your ult's available and we can combo. Through that communication, you combo your ults, you kill the enemy team. That is how you get out of those tiers. And all that is just increasing your level of knowledge on the game. It's not about becoming stupidly accurate. It's not about spending hundreds of hours in the training range or anything like that. It's just about having a better understanding of the game. And that's why Overwatch is my favourite game. There are so many different ways you can play this game. It is awesome. If you want to sit down and you want to become the ultimate DPS player, the next Seagull or Shadowburn, then yeah, sure, you can try and do that. You can train Genji all day and night and just go wild on him. but you need to respect your other players. Don't ever sit there and think to yourself, oh yeah, I'm the reason we've won this game. I'm so great. I've killed 4 of the enemy team. Because it's not like you've just turned up and killed them. The tanks on your team and the supports on your team have allowed you to do that. So just don't get big-headed. But guys, if you do have this attitude, if you do watch videos and think you are better than what you are watching, try and step back and think, hang on, am I actually better? Look at your videos, record your gameplay, look at it and think to yourself, can I actually do things better right now? I mean, I have a series called Overanalyzed, which you'll be seeing coming back on the channel. It's probably come back on the channel by now, actually. But what this is me looking at gameplay footage of people throughout all tiers of Overwatch. It doesn't matter if you're Grandmaster, you can still get advice off this, because I will tell you what is going on, where you are making mistakes, because I know when mistakes are being made. I make mistakes all the time, but like, for example, simple basic things, like if you're playing Zenyatta, you don't want to be on the front line. You don't want to be in front of your Reinhardt barrier, because if the enemy's got a Roadhog, they're going to hook you and you're dead, and then your team don't have a support. You should be further back. Things like that. But unless people get shown the way, then I think it's a bit hard for them to sort of understand that. But guys, please don't be the person who goes around saying people are being carried, because they're not. You are at the tier you're at in Overwatch because that's where you belong. And you either get better through, like if you're in the lowest of the low tier, so if you're really low bronze, or you know, maybe possibly low silver, maybe you could benefit from a little bit of training accuracy. But once you start going up through the tiers, the difference between a diamond player and a grandmaster player is not really they're more accurate, it's just they understand the game better. That's all it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa and this is Unit Lost, and this has been it's been an interesting video on, I think, the reasons why people seem to think they are better than other people and think it's unfair that they're stuck at certain levels. Just go back and look at what you're doing. I made a video a while ago and I said the best carry in Overwatch is you. Look at what you're doing and look at how you can do it better. Because if you do your job on any hero, you will get higher in the ranks because you are doing your job. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa and this is Unit Lost. If you enjoyed the video, then like the video. Do leave a comment below and let me know if you're a guy who has done this on other videos. You know, or you think you're better than you are and it's not fair, and etc, etc. Just let me know. It's time to be honest in the comments, guys. Let's have a big community hug. Alright guys, I've been Stylosa and I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.